Harley is fully and officially broke now. There's no way back from this. They destroyed their own identity with greed and cluelessness. The used market is killing their new sales, their tech is ancient, and rivals like Indian and Honda are eating them alive because they understood one thing: adapt or die. But Harley didn't. And with debt ballooning, leadership in shambles, and no sign of change anytime soon, this isn't just a collapse, it's a slow-motion demolition. Harley-Davidson used to be the motorcycle every rider dreamed about. It was a lifestyle, an identity, a badge of rebellion. But look at them now. Their collapse isn't some minor dip on a chart, it's a full-blown nosedive. Global registrations in the first half of 2025 fell almost 28%, leaving them with just 73,000 units sold. That's not a sales report, that's an obituary in slow motion. Meanwhile, Honda is out here laughing, moving nearly 10 million bikes in the same period, posting a 3% increase on top of already insane growth. Harley can't even hit six figures anymore, while Honda treats 9 million like it's just another Tuesday. And the funniest part? Harley's board keeps smiling like nothing's wrong. They're projecting stock recovery, trying to convince investors that things are about to get better. But behind the curtain, it's a circus on fire. Debt is ballooning past $1.25 billion. Markets are shrinking faster than Harley's relevance. And the riders who used to worship the brand have either aged out, given up, or switched over to bikes that don't feel like a bad financial decision. Even Trump had to get involved, warning Harley about shifting jobs overseas. Think about that for a second. When the former president of the United States is calling you out for outsourcing while your company's drowning in debt, that's not a warning sign. That's a neon billboard flashing failure ahead. Now, let's talk about Harley's financial freefall, because the numbers are uglier than their marketing strategy. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, shipments cratered by 33%. Retail sales followed with a brutal 21% nosedive, and revenue from bikes and gear fell 27% to a pitiful $1.1 billion. This is Harley-Davidson we're talking about, the supposed king of American motorcycles, making less money than competitors spend on ad campaigns. The cash register isn't ringing anymore, it's wheezing, and the people running Harley don't have a roadmap to fix it. And Harley's dealers? Oh, they're not helping. They've turned into greedy toll booths, stacking hidden fees and markups until a $25,000 bike magically costs you over 30 grand. Imagine walking into a dealership excited to buy your first Harley and realizing the salesman just added $5,000 worth of administrative fees. Harley calls it business. I call it daylight robbery. Meanwhile, Honda and Indian are offering bikes with more performance and features for literally half the price. Why would anyone in their right mind pay $30,000 for a Harley when a better bike is sitting across the street for $15,000? Harley's pricing strategy isn't strategy, it's self-sabotage. And then there's the July 2025 debt deal, the so-called lifeline. Harley offloaded loans to KKR and PIMCO, unlocking $1.25 billion in cash. Sounds impressive, right? Except everyone with half a brain knows it's nothing but a band-aid on a bullet wound. All Harley did was sell tomorrow to survive today. They basically handed over the keys of their financial arm to Wall Street just to keep the lights on. Critics aren't even subtle about it. They call it kicking the can down the road, piling obligations on top of obligations, pretending the company isn't standing on the edge of a cliff. If this is Harley's idea of a fix, then it's clear the company isn't changing course anytime soon. Bankruptcy lawyers are probably already circling like vultures. But here's the real punchline. Harley's biggest problem isn't even money. It's culture. The riders are gone. The baby boomers who built Harley into a cult are aging out. selling their bikes, or hanging up their leathers for good. And the younger riders, they don't want anything to do with Harley's rigid, outdated identity. Who the hell wants to pay 30 grand just to be part of some exclusive Harley-only club when Indian, Honda, and BMW are building bikes that welcome everyone? Harley's still trying to sell rebellion cosplay from the 1980s. While Indian is leaning into Americana muscle, Honda is cranking out affordable modern machines, and BMW is packing tech like it's a spaceship on two wheels. Harley's culture isn't appealing anymore. It's repelling, and the worst part is, nothing about their strategy suggests they'll adapt to fix it. And if you want proof that Harley has completely lost the plot, just look at the used market. This is where the brand eats itself alive. The secondhand Harley scene is flooded with pristine, garage-kept bikes from older riders who are retiring or downsizing. A 5-year-old Road Glide with low miles, you can snag it for $15,500 or less. Compare that to $33,000 or more for a new one after all the dealer markups. It's the exact same bike, just a few years older, and in some cases it even comes loaded with custom upgrades. Why would any rational human being pay double for a new one when the used market is handing out better deals every day? Harley basically created a nightmare scenario where their biggest competition isn't Indian or Honda, it's themselves. Their bikes don't change much year to year, so the old models feel just as good as the new ones. That makes the used market a paradise for buyers and a graveyard for Harley's new sales. Think about it. Their own past success is now their worst enemy. The very loyalty and timelessness they used to brag about has turned into a noose around their neck. Riders are making the practical choice, going used, and Harley can't stop them because they've given no reason to buy new. Harley loves to brag about tradition, but let's be honest, their tradition now means they're stuck in 1985 while everyone else is building motorcycles for 2025. They're still leaning heavily on air-cooled engines, the same old rattly tech dressed up with chrome and nostalgia. Meanwhile, rivals like Honda, Indian, and BMW are out here dropping liquid-cooled power plants, ride modes, adaptive suspension, and electronics that actually make sense for modern riders. Harley's answer? A few incremental tweaks and a pat on their own back. But this lazy playbook isn't about to change. It's the same tired bike dressed up in chrome. Take the Livewire fiasco. This was supposed to be Harley's big leap into the future, their Tesla moment. Instead, it landed with all the grace of a faceplant on gravel. Why? Because Harley priced it at nearly $30,000. That's right, they wanted younger, eco-friendly riders to pay luxury car money for a bike that couldn't even compete with cheaper electrics already on the market. It flopped so hard Harley had to spin it off into its own brand, basically hiding it in a closet like a family embarrassment nobody talks about. Oh no, that's not Harley's disaster, that's Livewire's problem. Nice try, but everyone remembers who built it. And Harley's refusal to learn from that disaster shows exactly why their future isn't shifting anytime soon. Then there's Pan America. Credit where it's due, this was actually a decent bike. It even got positive reviews and managed to impress riders who didn't think Harley could make an adventure bike. But let's not kid ourselves. One good model doesn't save an entire failing lineup. That market is dominated by BMW, KTM, and Honda, who have decades of credibility in the adventure space. Pan America was like Harley crashing a party it wasn't invited to, showing up late, and then acting like it was the life of the room. Cute attempt, but when you're up against GS, Africa Twin, and KTM's beastly adventure rigs, you're just the background noise. And don't even get me started on the Revolution Max engine. This was the one modern thing Harley actually got right. Liquid-cooled, high performance, something that could actually pull them out of the Stone Age. But instead of rolling it across the lineup, Harley treated it like some rare collectible, limiting it to a handful of models. It's like they're terrified of alienating their older base, so they just keep clinging to nostalgia. The problem is that nostalgia doesn't pay the bills when your global sales are down 28%, and Honda is selling 10 million bikes. Harley hesitates at every step, and hesitation is exactly what's killing them. Now let's shift gears and talk about leadership, because this circus has a new ringmaster. Jochen Seitz, the so-called visionary CEO, is finally stepping down effective October 1st, 2025. What's he leaving behind? Collapsing sales, alienated riders, and debt stacked so high it looks like Harley is auditioning for bankruptcy court. Enter Artie Starrs, the new CEO. And here's where it gets hilarious. Starrs used to run Topgolf and Pizza Hut. Yep, Harley went from a German climate activist to a pizza guy. Riders are already asking the obvious question: what the hell does a pizza executive know about saving an iconic motorcycle brand? The ugly truth is nothing about this leadership shuffle suggests Harley will change direction. It looks like more of the same mess on repeat. And here's the real kicker: nothing about this leadership swap signals change. If anything, it screams more of the same, and riders know it's not expected to get better anytime soon. And while the leadership shuffle makes headlines, the real story is Harley's desperate debt deal. In July 2025, Harley struck a strategic partnership with KKR and PIMCO, handing over 4.9% each of Harley-Davidson Financial Services. In return, they unlocked $1.25 billion in cash. Wall Street cheered, Harley's stock got a temporary sugar high, and execs tried to spin it as strategic liquidity. But let's call it what it really is: pawning off your future to survive the present. Harley basically sold its financial soul for some quick cash. Sure, they bought breathing room, but what's next? More Band-Aids. Everyone can see Harley's decision-making isn't shifting anytime soon. Just the same desperation on repeat. And then there's the political storm brewing. Trump has already blasted Harley for outsourcing jobs to Thailand and India. Remember, this is the same company that took over $100 million in subsidies and tax breaks while quietly shifting production overseas. Now Congress is sniffing around, and Harley is right back on Washington's radar. When politicians from both sides of the aisle are grilling your execs about subsidies, outsourcing, and layoffs, that's not a sustainable strategy. That's a company on life support, hoping no one notices the beeping machines in the background. Investors might still expect a short-term stock bump, but behind the scenes, the picture is brutal. Layoffs looming, dealers exhausted, and debt tied up in deals that look more like desperation than strategy. And here we are at the big question: is Harley's story the last ride or just the last gasp? Because right now, their so-called comeback strategy looks like smoke and mirrors. Their big hero bike, the Sprint, is nothing more than vaporware. It's been teased for a 2026 launch with a price tag under $6,000. But here's the kicker: they haven't released a single meaningful spec. No horsepower figures, no drivetrain details, no actual prototype that riders can see. Just hype and hot air. That's not a product launch. That's a scam disguised as marketing.